play, and now it's known as the Celtic way. We play the ball from side to side, and intermediate try to hide. But we play the ball from front to back. Attack, 67. And he's a Lisbon, the flash given a thousands. To see the boys become champion of 67. And he's a Lisbon, the flash given a thousands.
Hello and welcome to episode 68 of Celtic Rumours TV, the Bawz and Bovril podcast with your hosts Mark and myself Paul. Join us tonight we have Terence and Brian, Ter161 and Welshy Boy from our forum page to the podcast, celticrumours.co.uk. You can also see all our links to the podcast in the description below. On tonight's show we will be talking about yesterday's 2-1 victory over Alloa in the Scottish Cup. Spending spree is well underway under Ange Michael Nicholson. Upcoming fixtures in the league are must-win games. And of course, we'll be looking through the live chat. And if there's anything you guys in the live chat want to discuss, please let us know and post your concerns. Mark will now do a few shout-outs and bring Terence and Brian onto the show.
Thanks very much, Paul. Quick shout-outs to him, Alloa, Glasgow Green. See Bobby's in the chat there. Says he's feeling a bit better, so that's good as well. Shout outs to Mikey. I'm on the live chat, but I haven't really spoke to Mikey the last couple of days. Richie and his family, I heard from Richie the other day, Paul. Not any chemotherapy for September. His latest tests and that have come back, and it's not brilliant news, obviously, but it's good news. He'll not be getting any more chemotherapy until at least April.
That's good.
From September to April, that's a lot. Do you know what I mean? So that hopefully winning that fight, he's beat it a few times already, so I'm sure he'll do it again. So fingers crossed for Richie and his family that everything goes the way they want. But back up, as I said, to 521 subs. It just seems to be stuck on that, Paul. I don't think we've ever went above that, have we?
No, that's the highest. Highest.
I think we'll need to do all these other folks. I was speaking to a guy the other day. We spoke about it, all this like buying YouTube subscribers and things like that. Everybody in the place does it. This guy I was talking, I actually met him in a stream one night. Bobby was in it and I got talking to the guy in the stream, but ended up kind of getting in touch with each other just to chat about it. He's trying to just start a podcast off himself as well. But he seems to know a lot about all this kind of how YouTube works, you know. And he says to me, I guarantee you that every Celtic podcast out there is buying subscribers and buying views and buying this. He says because that pushes you up on your algorithm. It's a bit entitled, you know what I mean?
No, we do it the hard way, Mark.
Aye, because he's like, it's not like YouTube, there's no something you can't do. You know, it's not as if YouTube kick you off for doing it, but just I don't really see the point. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather we spent the money in getting the camera situation and that up and running, Paul, and doing something stupid like that.
Exactly.
That's me, my wee rant anyway about it. So when you go and get Brian and Welshy and Ter and so.
So yesterday Celtic beat Alloa 2-1. The scoreline really flattered the away side. Celtic controlled the game from start to finish. Missed chances again by our strikers and attackers. Mejida, Giamarcus missing his serious chances throughout the game. Gio opened the scoring after a lovely cross by Scales on the left hand side, and Gio controlling the ball with his first touch that directed into the near post. A superb second goal by Abada and a solo effort coming off the right to call into the top corner. Abada now has 11 goals in the league and 8 assists. Lille has also scored in all 5 tournaments this season. Other players that are on this list have scored in all 5 European games in one season is only Sinclair, McGregor, Griffiths and Larson have also done it. This is a great achievement from the young Skells, and he's beginning to find form again. But Mark, are they here?
I think they're aye.
Yeah. Perfect.
Welshy, you there as well, aye?
I am here.
Aye. Thanks very much for coming on, Welshy, and you as well, Terence, bud.
But as the concern for every Celtic game lately, the game was overshadowed by saves of injuries. Cal McGregor going off with a suspected fractured jawbone. Gucci going after for another horrendous tackle by Alloa pair, and Abada going off again, injured. Terence, I'll start with yourself first, because you kind of bit off with Andrew's decisions about the starting lineup concerning the injuries. He could have been rested yesterday, couldn't he, Callum Mack?
I couldn't believe it, Paul. I said it beforehand, and we've said it here ourselves on the podcast numerous times. The two players that we've marked that you didn't want to get injured was Joe Hart and Callum McGregor. And McGregor's played 38 games this season already. 6 of them all right for Scotland, but he's played 38 games. Ange had been going on about he can't keep bumping the same players, ask him to keep doing it because that's how Turnbull got injured. That's how players were getting injured. They were basically getting exhausted. And they were getting muscle injuries as a result of it. And when you're playing a team like Alloa, you're going guys who are never going to play against Celtic, and they're going to be flying into tackles. And to prove a point, that guy who tackled Gucci yesterday,
Niang or something like that, I think. Niang or something like that, I think, yeah.
He's on loan from Partick Thistle, because I heard Alan Ruff talking about him. And he was sent off after 25 seconds. And Alan Ruff had basically said, on a thing I heard him talking, that he was going to be flying into tackles. He said, wait to see this boy. He's going to fly into tackles this Celtic game. And like the referee is 5 yards away. Like it's a horrendous tackle. How you man broken his ankle? I'll never know. And he's another. There's no way you can see him being available for during the week. Like, I mean, when they showed the picture of him on the sideline, his leg was wrapped.
With kind of straight away when he came off, Terence wanted his leg was wrapped straight away when he kind of came off on this.
Instantly try to keep any swelling down. I mean, when you see it in slow mo, the way his ankle bends, you're like, what in God's name is the referee doing? But it's those lower league teams are going to be flying in, and I just, for the life of me, I can't understand how Ange did Callum McGregor when you've got Beaton, McCarthy, Sorrow. I know Rogic played, and he's got Rio. I know Guti played. The Turnbull's injured. He's got Riley. He could have put a man there for him. And one injury apart from Joe Hart, he didn't want. It's a disaster. I think it was just a terrible decision, in my opinion, by Ange to put him on. I know not everyone is going to agree with it, but I just think it was a terrible decision for him to play.
Mark, how did you think about that? What you can obviously see Terence's point. Like we're always saying,
obviously, I can see
Callum is a big, like we saw how we kind of struggled without him. Kind of at the start of the season, Mark, as well, didn't we? You know.
I mean, well, again, Paul and Terence are up. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. I mean, and as I said to you, Paul, last night, it's a facial injury. I don't know how it's going to really.
It's actually, I was reading. It's actually his jawbone is broke, and he has to go for surgery to and it could be about 6 weeks for that properly heals.
Nice as well. You know what I mean? It's up that region. And what I'm trying to say, Mark, is that I understand this could happen, and it's unfortunate. It's
but you shouldn't have took a risk. I totally understand what you're saying. I honestly expect to see the team. I was surprised. When I seen the team, I was surprised with the team. I thought Scott Bain would have started.
I
things like that.
Well, considering Mark, he only got a new contract, I thought Bain would have started.
Even maybe a couple of other positions, I thought maybe he could have played different players. But I mean, as I said it on the forum, man, he said it himself. The players will get plenty of time for a rest when they're 45. I think that's just kind of. I think Terence, maybe this is just something we're going to get kind of a bit used to. I mean, he'll maybe tweak a wee bit here and there, but he's not going to. I don't think he's in his mindset to drop any like his big players, his star players, unless they're injured.
I understand that, but we look at Mark. The 3 games that are coming up: Hearts, Dundee United, Rangers. That's surely to God. Like if Celtic can't put Beaton or a McCarthy or even a Sorrow.
I thought McCarthy would have started as well. I thought McCarthy would have been a certainty to start yesterday as well. But I mean, when he did come on at least, he was one of the players. I mean, he had a wee dig at one of the Alloa players. I said on the live chat, it was good to see a Celtic player actually doing that for a change.
But yeah,
A wee bit of payback. So I thought McCarthy should have probably started yesterday.
And I just don't understand if Ange is going to say about players playing too many games, and there's no one playing more games than Callum McGregor.
Even in the past 4 seasons, Terence, I think we could say that about Callum McGregor, couldn't we? You know,
he was one season, Paul. He played most amount of minutes in Europe.
And
I just can't believe that he's no guy. He could be gone for the majority of the season if that injury is very, very bad.
Brian, do you want to come in there?
I just love it. Like Mark says, hindsight's a great thing. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from, Ter, but my opinion was more a case of he's brought in these new boys. He gave Gucci his first start yesterday. It's probably seen how he matches up with McGregor in midfield. You know, you've got to try these boys out in games, haven't you? The way I looked at it was, the midfield's going to be pivotal going forward, so it's how these boys are going to fit in, who's going to play where. I just thought he put Carl Mark in there just to see how he would produce with Eddie Gucci, how he'd settle in.
He's maybe used it as a kind of training exercise. No disrespect to Alloa about that, but you've got a chance for players to maybe play together against. But we would look on as like lower opposition, really, isn't it?
You can say the same for behind closed door games. These things can happen, can't they?
Aye.
I was looking there as well yesterday, Mark, and a lot of people were again kind of giving Starfelt a bit of stick yesterday. I saw nothing wrong with Starfelt's performance yesterday. I really didn't, and I was looking at that.
I mean, even on the forum, Paul, people are blaming him for the goal. I mean, when they actually watch, what game is they actually watching? Is it just a case of Celtic have conceded a goal? It must be Starfelt's fault.
29 games he's played in, and we've had 15 clean sheets in 15 games he played in, Mark, out of 29. 15 clean sheets. I can't see what this guy is doing wrong. I think people now need a figure to blame for every goal Celtic concede, and they're blaming Starfelt for everything.
He had a shocker in the cup final, but other than that, I thought he's been quite stable lately.
The cup, that Brian, that is the kind of, that's like the stick out one, isn't it? I mean, we can go back to the Hearts game, at the first game when he came in, he was a bit ropey and that, but we can forgive anybody for that in their debut. The cup final, don't know if the occasion maybe got to me a bit, but other than that cup final, I don't see where this is coming from, that he's no good enough and he should. I mean, people seem to be forgetting as well. See, when Julian was in the team, we weren't slagging him off for that, but Julian isn't this big solid defender that everybody's making out he's going to be, and he's going to come back in and be this rock in the middle of our defence next to
Julian's got better the longer he's been out. I think Julian was a big shite bag.
Aye, that's exactly. I mean, he's not getting the kind of heart. I mean, as I said, the people on the forum are making it out as if he's this big solid rock that's going to come in and sort out our defence and like an Amanja Vidic kind of character. And that's not what Julian was like. If anybody thinks back to that, Brian, nothing at all.
Social media's got a lot to answer for, to be fair. I mean, all the boys that I talk to him on the WhatsApp groups, just chatting and stuff like that. Everybody's all behind Starfelt that I speak to, actually speak to him face to face. It's just what you see. Social media just seems to have it taken away from there.
At least they're leaving Greg Taylor, really.
But it's like what Brian's saying. It was like when James Forrest was out of the team. When James Forrest was out of the team, he was the next best thing. Like, they were going, we need Forrest back, we need him back, we need him. He wasn't in the team 5 minutes, and he was getting pelters. And Julian's the exact same. He's out of the team. We're struggling big time. We need him back. Starfelt's this, Starfelt's that. I don't know what game people are watching the same as yourselves. I thought Starfelt against Hibs was man of the match in the first game back. I thought he was brilliant. I know they gave it to Rahito. He played well. But I thought Starfelt in the first game back, the first league game when the crowds were back again, I thought he was fantastic. I didn't hear anything.
It's the same if you never watched any games or been to any games, you would think, what's this that bad? Everybody's slagging him off, look at his stats. He takes some stick. Funny stats are
About
incredible.
11 goals and 8 assists.
I've been
11 goals
I've
and
been
8
a bit
assists, like,
guilty of that with
you know,
Abada. I just
but
think
he-
Abada drifts in and out of games. He doesn't really much. I don't know how to put it, but you can't fault his stats. But I've been a bit critical of Abada. Maybe no.
But Mark, it's going down to what? It's going down to.
There's been looked at the games, but he starts games and then I think Abada's what surely he was never bought for the first team at 19-year-old. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's come in, he's sort of cemented his place, but he's not getting that respite where he comes and goes and gets a bit of a break stuff.
Mark, I just throw something at you, Mark. When we were always saying Abada's best breed, the team was at the start of the season, and then we signed Yotta, and everything started going down the left. Now that Yotta's come in, we're seeing the best of Abada.
Maybe it was, Paul. We did say that before. Maybe because we were at the line on the left-hand side, we weren't seeing
was all
it.
our play going down the left-hand side, like, and maybe Abada was out of games because of that. Do you know what I mean? You know, because like that goal yesterday was a stunner. You know.
Oh, that was a peach. Then see the one that I thought it kind of hurt it with the outside. He's fit as well, and nearly went in the top corner.
Mm-hmm.
That was I mean, saying that he didn't, he was maybe tried to cross it. I don't know if he thought maybe he could have put that in at that near post against the keeper.
Mm-hmm. But I think that the biggest thing yesterday, Mark, and Terence and Brian, was like that missed chances again made this a tricky tie at the end of it, like, because another goal they were back in it, like, and we have to be taking our chances, like, and these were chances that you expect Celtic to score. Terence?
Exactly, Paul. It was some of them were brutal. And people are hammering the Airfield, but I didn't hear anyone hammering the two boys, Jacko and up front. They missed a handful of chances. A handful of chances. Now the keeper made one great save from a cross from Jota that made a great header. Jacko missed a handful, like.
Mm-hmm.
I saw very little criticism with it.
And it was the same against Livingston as well, Terence. Do you know what I mean? He was getting into positions against Livingston as well, but he was missing these kind of chances we expected him, what he was kind of coming in for. Do you get me? In to receive these crosses and stuff like that.
Where the worry is, you find you'll get away with it just about yesterday with an Alloa. But when we're coming up against the better side, especially the next three games, if we don't take the chances, the likelihood is it's going to bite in the arse, like. And that's a big thing, because Jack was likely to be leading the line. He should have had the very easiest for me to have easy had a hat trick.
Mm-hmm. Mark, it's the same old story. Like, we need to be killing off games, like, because we had the chance to kill off that game. Like, there was no way, like, we should have been struggling there at the end there, Mark. You know what I mean?
No, the game should have been killed off long before then, Paul. Like, as you say, I mean, it's not even just this season, Paul. We've been talking about that for the last while with Celtic, the chances that we're making, but we're not taking the chances. I mean, I thought Giamarcus last night, I said I thought I expect him to get a couple of goals.
Mm-hmm.
Then when he got that first tune, you thought, well, early on as well, it was quite early.
But that's what you want the first time, Mark. You want him to get an early goal, build up the confidence, but then, do you know what I mean?
But the second chance he got, I thought he should have been down in the box. I know it's Alloa and people say, you can't do that, but if you tell all the pundits sit there on Sky and say, Paul, if you get touched in the box, you get down.
Mm-hmm. Sure, you see that.
That came right after he scored the goal, though, and I think he was a bit confident there. I say why did he pass the ball either? I just thought he was going to bury it.
I thought he was going to bury it, but I mean, fair play to him for staying up. But if that was like in Derby game or that Welshy, you want them to get down, didn't you?
Oh, 100%. It's the same. You hear what John Hartson hit the nail on the head last night for me. He's like, one of these days we're going to give somebody a right doing.
Yeah.
But in the end, we end up making it hard for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. John Hartson said, "Dude, that Salmon should have scored that goal from the halfway line."
I've got a nightmare, Paul. I've got a nightmare that could happen with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why he stands so far. I know it's kind of part of this high press with the keeper plays the sweeper keeper, but I mean, you don't need to be a great football player to chip a keeper when you're
No.
that foot. Do you know what I mean? That could
Like-
easily have been in last night.
One thing, and we're going back to the Alloa goal, like, and could Hart have come out for that ball and maybe punched it? Like, it was close to really his 6-yard line mark. Like, he could have come out for that too. Like, I'm noticing Hart doesn't.
No, he
really
doesn't.
come out for
We've said
crosses.
that, but he doesn't
Yeah.
command. He doesn't command the area the way like your Fraser Foster or that did. I mean, a lot of the goals Celtic conceded were right there. They were talking about Starfelt and right, but a lot of the goals that Celtic probably conceded, even for like these free set pieces, Paul. If it was Fraser Foster or something like that, and
Yeah.
a lot of them they wouldn't be, because he would come out and claim that ball for his own.
But
And I
then
don't know
again,
why Hart doesn't do that.
Yeah,
Especially with
he's tall.
especially with a level protection as well, Paul, that keepers get. Because
Yeah.
if you don't get the ball, the chances are it's going to be a foul on you. Real into that's the kind of way it is.
He's actually some size of a boy as well. You know,
He's a big unit.
Yeah. But then you can go back to what Joe Hart does for Celtic Denmark, like that save he made then when it was, look, they could have been back in the game earlier. Then like that was a great save again by Hart there, you know, with his legs.
Oh, it's a short stopper and that, and even like his influence in the team, we speak about that quite regular. You can't fault him, but he has got his faults, because let's face it, Paul, if Joe Hart was a keeper that he was a few years back, he wouldn't be at Celtic, you know. You know what I mean? He would have been still at number one at a team down in England somewhere.
What we beat, like the Arsenal tough again was tough. Like what we beat Labour than that again yesterday, Mark, and some parts of the game kind of too slow.
It always plays a part, Paul.
So I was actually, the reason I brought it up, because I wanted to look at it, and Celtic kind of don't really play, and it's going back to something Brendan Rodgers said, Mark, and Terence and thing. He said, Brendan Rodgers at the time said, we're afraid to run at speed, and we're afraid to run into tackles on the AstroTurf in fear of injuries. So this affects our game, so the players bring it on themselves to slow the ball down. So I was looking like, is it the players' mindset on this AstroTurf that's slowing the game down? Because Ange certainly wasn't happy in his press conference yesterday about how slow the game was yesterday.
We read all this in that, Paul, about how these pitches are basically shite. Let's not beat about the bush a bit. But no, when it really kind of, it was only Mikey's charity match. See, my wee pals and that was coming off. He started to say, he just talking, it says it's just that hard. See, running on it. See, we joined you. I asked him about it.
Tough
That
defeat,
folk,
like.
see, they didn't have that when I was younger and playing football and that, Paul. That was just kind of, that was like your five-a-side kind of pitchy stuff. So that was just what you were landed with, kind of idea.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, because we saw it against Livingston, or tack seems to be slower on their pitch match. Do you get me?
But see, the thing about it is, Paul, this shouldn't be a thing that's up to Celtic to deal with. Let's be honest with this, Paul. This is a thing that the SFA should be dealing with. Their pitches shouldn't be in. Right, well, last night, that's a lower league team. Obviously, that's a bit different.
I actually thought that pitch was better than Livingston's pitch.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
I was going to say, but when you look at that last night, when you look at that last night to what Livingston have got, that's a better, well, I'd say just on the tail, it looks a better quality pitch. At least it looks a bit kind of grassy. That Livingston pitch doesn't even look as if it is like artificial grass or anything. There shouldn't be pitches like that in the top league. Definitely shouldn't be.
Because like we heard for years of Neil Lennon and Brendan Rodgers that the likes of Roger can't play on these pitches, and they seem to have no problem playing it, Mark, under Ange. Do you know what I mean?
Well, but again, I don't know what the kind of impact on Rogic's body's going to be if they're playing in a game like that either, Paul. Maybe he's to do it like.
I thought Roger
a certain kind of recuperation.
I thought Roger would have faked an injury for us yesterday so he could pull out the Australian squad.
I don't think he would do anything like that. I mean, even get back to that thing with the Livingston pitch, it's all the wee black rubber pellets.
Mm-hmm.
I actually thought they were banned till Livingston came back into the Premier League, but obviously they're not. It's certainly something that needs to be looked at.
But these, like, in the next one, we were drawn against Red Rovers, and I was looking at thing like we always seem to get Red Rovers in the cup run as well, don't we? We always seem to be.
Bad memories.
Yeah.
1995. 94, 94, the Coca-Cola Cup final.
Jeez, I remember the Coca-Cola Cup final. Remember that? It was called the Coca-Cola Cup.
That's what Red Rovers beat in the final, eh?
Like, so it's another, like, at least it's at home. When we're all tough, like, but these cup games, like, they're one-off games, like they're unpredictable. Like, it was the same yesterday with Alloa, like it was an unpredictable game, like, you know what I mean?
St Johnstone get put with
you
pronounce it Celtic Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cup holders.
And I watched it there, Mark, St Johnstone, and when they were coming off the pitch, they had to go through their own fans to get to the dressing room. And the booing Davison got, he's certainly, time is up, I think.
Well, I said that on the live chat last night when I saw that they put out the cup. Surely time's coming to, I mean, they're bottom of the league, Paul, and that's them out the cup, so it's getting to the kind of squeaky bum end of the season, and the St Johnstone board's obviously going to be looking to see if he's a man to kind of pull them back for relegation, and the way things are going, I don't honestly see.
No, he looks like they seem to be stuck in a rut.
Even if they can get up a spot to the playoff position kind of thing, I don't know if they would be confident in winning the playoff either. If
you look down south, like Claudio Renri's position is they're saying he's going to be sacked by the end of the week by Watford, and he's only in the job 3 months. Do you know what I mean? But that's the way
for Watford, though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just the modern football, Brian, isn't it? If you don't get results.
Yeah, listen, Watford are a separate entity when it comes to.
I do, yeah. The amount the managers they went through is I think this. Yeah, like.
They'd probably be better investing in like a young coach with, you know what I mean, better in the club kind of idea. So like you'd done the kind of Brentford route of that.
There's only so much, Mark.
Because they seem to have plenty, but they seem to have plenty of money, so why not spend it more wisely?
Yeah,
like there's. They seem to have a stay-up mentality. It's got nothing to do with progression or anything, is it?
No, it's money, Brian, isn't it? Like, but there's only so many times you can do that. Keep changing the manager to keep you up. You'll eventually go down.
Unless Sam Allardyce gets the job. big fat Sam again to the rescue.
But yes, back to the game yesterday, Terence. It was overshadowed like by another poor performance by Robinson. Same referee. I was looking back at him when Turnbull got tackle against Butcher, Dundee United. Fuchs did a bad tackle on McGregor in an early game. Same referee, just bookings. Yeah, something needs to be done, like, about the referee. Like, it's really getting out of control now, isn't it? Like, these tackles, like, someone is seriously going to get hurt. And Hayase was lucky yesterday his leg wasn't broke, because when you look back in that was a bad tackle when you see it in slow motion, where his leg bent,
It's like what was said, and it was said on Discord and the whole lot. You saw the other crowd from across the city complained, went in, no issues, straight away complained. Apparently they had a list of 8 points. They complained about the match. Yet Celtic were happy enough for the match first start of the season for Halliday to karate kick basically McGregor, nearly break his leg. Referee did nothing. Porteous nearly took his other leg in another game. You had Turnbull's tackle, who did the tackle last night. You had the head of the referees coming on saying that Kyogo's goal was offside, in that, coming on, what is it, BBC Scotland or whatever. The only time he's come on, no one even knew who he was. And you've a referee given 17 or 18 fouls against Celtic in one game where the opposition had 23% possession, which was something like a free every 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The longer Celtic go on and say nothing, the longer that goes on. Like Rangers had one situation the other night where they got pissed off probably because Scott Brown drove them mad. And they went into the SFA and they had 8 points. Now, I don't know whether the stuff put up in Discord was true, whether that the referee was basically axed this week's
No, I think, Mark, you just sent me something in that there, Mark, didn't you?
A wee buzzbomb put it up on the forum just before we came online there, Ter, and say these referees were picked the other week or something like that. So there's no conspiracy. But Brian,
I put it on the Discord before. I saw somebody put a tweet on for that.
Buzz put it on the forum here just before we came on live that these referees are picked a couple of weeks in advance or something, so he wasn't booked to be a referee this week anyway, which is fair dues, I suppose.
But I suppose that aside, Mark, is what I'm saying is they got pissed off. Whether they're right or wrong to write in that's their own business. But if some don't question some of the decisions that are happening in some of the the head of the referee coming on the BBC Scotland show or Sports Scene or whatever it was to say the Kyogo's goal is allowed. It's the only time he's ever been on, or it should have been disallowed and stuff like that. Like if that happens the other way around, it'd be holy war.
But why did these other why did other clubs not just start doing that as well? See, when Rangers are getting these dodgy decisions going in their favour, they should fire in letters of complaint to the SFA.
I think, Mark, who was it, Mark? The fella that got fined that time he got suspended, was that the Hampton manager back then?
Aki's manager happened to, but it happens to a lot of them, and even a lot of them are starting to come out, Paul, just saying that there's no point in talking about it because they know what's going to happen to them. But without the manager doing it, why not get doing it? But instead of the manager, I keep saying it, managers should come out. And I've said it to you all the time, Paul, in private chats. Can't you just do it when you lose? You've got to do it when even you win and decisions you're still questioning it, because then it just looks like sour grapes. Because
Ange was asked after the game yesterday about some of the tackles that went in, and Ange said that's not for him to talk about. That's the referee's job to deal with stuff like that on the pitch. But it's not happening on the pitch. Like, what's your thoughts on it, Brian? Because I spoke in lengths to Terence and Mark about referees.
We're always talking about referees. It's just, one of the things, the quality's poor.
Mm-hmm.
There's certainly no doubt about that. The quality's poor. Obviously, there's decisions that are highlighted. That tackle yesterday, I don't know, it's one of them. See if it was on the way ring, you just like, oof. But I'm more of the opinion that the referees are just poor.
Well,
that's my kind of take as well, Brian. I put it just down to pure total incompetence.
But are they afraid to give him a red card?
You should be accountable for that. You don't just let it keep going. There needs to be something behind the scenes. The referee standard is definitely poor. But then again, would you want to be a referee in Scotland?
Will VAR help it, do you think, Brian?
VAR's, I just watched that Liverpool game before.
You see VAR today, then down the south, like for the Tottenham disallowed goal. And
I actually thought that was a push, to be honest with you, but the Liverpool penalty was disgraceful. So there's been plenty of opportunity. VAR has good points, and VAR has bad points.
Yeah.
It's one of those, isn't it? It's difficult to say whether it would make things better. It just depends on the decision itself.
Well, that's it, because to the same extent that the referees can go and look at the decision again, they can also use that as a backup for the decision they've made. Whether it's right or whether we think it's right or wrong. If the referee says, look, I went and looked at it in VAR and I still think it was or wasn't a penalty.
That makes them accountable for that decision. They get to see it.
Well, that's the thing, Brian, and I've said this in umpteen podcasts, but they're never held to any accountability. And now all of a sudden, Rangers have got a wee gripe and they're getting invited out to the SFA to talk about the standards of just a refereeing performance, not even in general, just in a game that they felt hard done by. But other referees, we're saying that guy's no booked in for this week, but that's not for anything he done. That's just because he wasn't booked for this round of upcoming games. There's no accountability. There's no punishment for making. There's no. It's weird. You see me think about it. It's what.
And then look
at it another way, though. If you look at it another way, see this thing where everyone's going back to the referees, like whether we agree with this, that, or the other. The fact is, they've made a complaint. It should be looked at, and it should be judged on its merits. And like you said before, about 5 minutes ago, every team should be doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. Send your report and put your complaints in, and let them make their decisions based on that. Keep putting the pressure on the referees if that's the case.
I say they'll end up going on strike again. I say.
Well, fine, put them on strike and get other referees in for another country
and you see the different standards then, Mark.
Exactly.
Like I thought was Was
He only goes
it?
straight when he got caught cheating.
Is it Aberdeen manager Glasses that he came out and he said this report that Rangers sent left out the biggest foul of the day was Alan McGregor's tackle.
I bet you that wasn't included in
No.
Rangers when they were slagging off the mistakes the referee made, and there was the biggest one of them all.
But like something's got to give. But I said to Terence and I said to Mark, like we have an amateur league here, Brian, and the referees here are more professional and better at the job than the referees in Scotland.
Say that again, sorry, Paul.
I said we have referees here in the League of Ireland, which is classified as an amateur league, and the referees here are amateurs and they're not professionals, But
do you know what I mean? I played football all my years and everything else, and up to decent level. Referees it's certainly a task you would want to take on. I don't think the referee standard all over the place is great.
Well,
anyway.
Who's it up to? Do you UEFA have any input into referees training, or is it just the Scottish FA?
You're watching the so-called best league in the world, and they've got VAR, and they're still getting decisions wrong. But I mean, so referees, the standard of referees is poor. Unfortunately, it's one of them things that nobody goes up thinking I want to be a referee. So,
but who does change?
Unless you're baby Dallas.
Yeah, but who does change the referees, Mark? Is it UEFA licensing or is it Scottish FA licensing? What way does it work?
There'll be different levels to it. Paul, you work your way up grades, and then if you can go to UEFA list, you get Champions League games and UEFA European Championships and chance to go to the World Cup and that. So it's like it's a grading system that you work your way up through.
But even at grassroots level and bringing them up, if that's something that's going to be a career, it needs to be viable for people. Why would you'd only do it for nothing for the love of the game, and why would you do that?
It's about £800 a game they get in Scotland.
Is that what they get?
I'm sure as I looked up something, that maybe have been a couple of year old article, but I just caught my eye something about £800 a game. Because they're not actually professionals in Scotland, Paul. It's like it's a Paul, look at the leader of the Tories running the line at Ibrox, or how's it? I think about that. No, but there you've got a Tory party, you've got a political party leader. Even that, I know, it's just craziness.
I'm sure the other fella is one of them is a PE teacher, indeed.
You're talking here about the Skpe as well as £800 a game. What about the guy that's doing the second division in Scotland and the first division in Scotland? What have you? They'll be getting pennies. I just think across the board, there's nothing that you actually bring them up to actually say, right, I'm going to have a good go at this because there's good money at the end.
I've said that 100 times as well. I think it should be UEFA that sort of the referees across Europe, and that'll do away with any bias. Like the big five, let them swap their referees about, and if anybody from like Scotland or Holland or Belgium can get to that kind of grading and level, move them up or whatever. But it should be UEFA that do these referees, and they should be appointing referees for every league in Europe, I think.
Even in this day and age with the cost of flights and the travel distance and everything else, you could have pulled them all over the place.
Like these, just like it's not being biased, and it's not being but these are dangerous tackles that players are just getting bookings for. Do you know what I mean? That's how. A player's going to get seriously injured with one of these tackles. It might be a Celtic player, but it'll certainly be another player. Do you know what I mean?
Even if they do get a red card, Paul, it's still no stopping that tackle.
No.
You get what I mean? Even see like the tackle we were talking about last night, if that guy had get sent off, it didn't stop him. He still made the tackle, he still potentially injured one of our players.
If you put that into perspective though, Paul, you're talking about an Alloa player who's...
Oh yeah, I know it's a dangerous game playing the lower league games, yeah, exactly.
That was my problem with this coach thing. That's what I thought was going to happen to our young players, Paul. Which I said to you, we're just going to get kicked on doing these parts with these lower league players.
Terence, you're going quite there.
Was it not still an Albion manager that said the other day he was disappointed that he booked?
It's still an Albion. Was it still an Albion manager? Said he was surprised and disappointed, and then his players get booked.
You know, that just shows you it's getting for the fight, isn't it? That's what at that level.
So, moving on to the next topic, with the transfer window still open, Celtic have now backed and in 2 transfer window. Total spend for the transfer window so far is £23.86 million. Our total departures for last season was £37.6 million. It's great to see Celtic signing young players, and a lot of Celtic fans love to see it. Celtic wages, though, turnover has worsened from 80% to 85%. So the slot up, it's slot up from 58% 3 years ago. Last season, Celtic's average wage bill was £55 million, with players leaving, like some top owners. I reckon we brought it down to about 49 million. Now, though, with our average wage bill is creeping up again with new signings coming in and little departures going out the door. So I respect our wage bill is in around £51 million to £52 million. Players still in our books on big wages, but getting very little big game time is a Yesi, 18,000, Bolingoli, 15,000, McCarthy, 14,000, Barkas, 10,000, and Zorro, 8,500. There's a lot of dead wood, is what I'm trying to say. Like that's still in the squad, Terence. That needs going out. Like our wage bill is creeping up. Like is it a concern, or do you think Celtic are keeping it well in their means? Or
it has to be a concern if you just say Ayeti, Bolingoli, Barkas, and Zorro, for argument's sake. I think it's 53 grand a week or something like that, give or take. That's going to 4 months, like, you know what I mean? I mean, it just need to get them off the books some way, some shape or form, if they can. Now the Ayeti one is probably going to be a struggle because he's injured, but like they need to just try to get the others off it some way, because it's sucking the life out of them. Like, I mean, there's guys on the team on probably on a lower wage and then are probably playing more or playing nearly every week, and they're looking at these guys, and you know it's of absolutely no benefit to these guys, because even as you'd imagine, I would think probably some of their attitudes probably are shite, as French. You know, there was that video doing the race a couple of months ago, Marcus in goals warming up before one of the games, and basically he didn't even attempt to take every shot taken went into the net. Like someone had the video and posted it up and things. I don't know. I'm sure they're working very, very hard behind the scenes to try to get them out. But let's just hope that they can get at least 2 of them out, because they just need to go, because it's sucking away where you could get a really, really good player in for it. You know what I mean?
Just to put in on that, I'm looking at a stat just now that I put on the Discord. I don't know how true it is, but it's showing that Celtic are the 4th out of 52 at the top 10 clubs UEFA outgoing transfers. Celtic were 4th.
4th, yeah.
We saw that.
32 outgoings. You know, to think of the rebuild we've got and the deadwood we've still got. So we've got short of 32 players in the last 12 months. That just shows you how much we've been stockpiling growth, to be honest.
That seems to be the like, what was it, Mark? When we looked at the last time, Mark, I think it was it 35 players in our first team squad.
Aye, 35. Aye.
You know,
even any manager you hear even speaking in the press, they tell you that's not the size of squad that they need to work with. So it's down to, I say it all the time, Paul. I've no complaints with the amount of money Celtic spend, but it's the way we spend that I've got a problem with. I mean, think of that, the 35 players, but the mates managers want like a 25, 26 man squad. Do you know what I mean? Bolstered with some youngsters and things like that, and we're nearly 10 players away from that kind of thing. And again, even down to the wages of guys like Barkas and things like that, just.
But I think that's why, Mark, when we were looking at this on Friday, like, and Jesus, Mark, well, we about an hour looking at all the different sites for the wages. I say, weren't we? You know.
I know.
And like the biggest concern, Mark, was like 3 years ago, it was at 58%. Like, I know it has shot up to the 80s mark. Like, I mean, it seems to be getting higher and higher, but this year more so than any. Like, I know we had big players leaving at the start. See, Duffy was on a big wage as well.
But Paul, did we know like a £11.5 million deficit this year as well?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's going to push up. See, because of the COVID thing, that's going to push up our wages to turnover ratio. So I think this year, maybe this year, like the accounts that me and you were looking at, which is June last year, wasn't it? I think I think the next year's accounts will be a bit they'll be a bit better, but it will still be a higher number.
Looking at the average wage of the players coming in, like Maeda and stuff like that, and they're all in and around, all the kind of new signings we brought in are all in and around the 15,000 mark, like between 10,000 and 15,000. There's no one going up to the high 20s like Duffy. I think Mark was thinking about 22,000 with us.
Aye.
But I see as well, though, Paul. I think that. Sorry, Mark. I think as well, Paul. Some of the problem is that it's like to an extent it's like your everyday living. Every year things seem to get dearer. That sounds stupid, but everything, even just your household stuff, everything seems to get dearer. This seems to be dearer. This seems to be dearer, and it's the same when it comes to even a player's wage. Whereas 5 years ago, a player on 18 grand would have been an unbelievable fee, an unbelievable amount of money. It's still an unbelievable amount of money, but 18 grand a couple of years ago would have been probably, Celtic might have even paid it as high as that, or maybe 20, or I don't know. But you're getting average players getting big wages, whereas the 18 grand might have been or 20, 23 or 25 grand might have been your really top earner. Whereas you wouldn't have had a bell end like Ballincoley getting 15 grand off Celtic. He'd have been more like maybe I'm thinking of 5 or 6.
Look at Yesi, like 80,000. He's a 4 top highest order.
Yeah, but so I just think it's one of these things, because you look at I know you don't mean to, but if you look down south or look at these other places,
but that's why I think maybe he was on that high wage terms because he came from down south.
Yeah, and some of it, and the problem is some of it's influenced by down there, because they're paying some idiot 150 grand and he can hardly tie his shoelaces. You know what I mean? And then these guys come up and they expect to be on a good wage in 18 year. Like it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that these guys are on it. They don't even kick. They hardly kick a ball for Celtic.
Mark, going back to what you were saying there, you never, like, it's not how much we spend, it's how we spend it. Do you think we spent wisely on the Ange and Nicholson since the start of the 2 transfer windows?
I don't think there's any doubt about that, Paul. It just seems it's like, well, obviously it's a new era after Peter Lowell, and then I've even forgot his name. The CEO that only hung about for a couple of weeks. No, the other one, Dominic Mackay. But it seems to be, Paul, which I've always said, we need to make sure that money's getting spent. It's getting spent with people. Football people making the football decisions, the money men making the money decisions, and it seems to be the way it's going now, Paul. I mean, I'll do my usual moan about all stuff like that, but they still seem to be backing the manager. I mean, even that guy that got away, the Australian guy, the Celtic didn't get anything wrong. They made him an offer. He didn't want the offer. Fair dues. You know what I mean? Is that just what happens with transfers? There'll be other players that we don't even know about. The Celtic have tried to sign this window and it's worked out. But it seemed, I mean, for even the speed that they were, the Japanese lads were signed in that, Paul, you know that Nicholson, he does just seem to be backing Ange's decisions on these things. And not just Ange, even you spoke about it, Paul, that like the other big guy for MK Dons.
O'Reilly.
I mean, is that an Ange signing?
No, because we've been
exactly, Paul.
To Brendan Rodgers, weren't we?
Well, it was around about that time. I don't know if they're doing any day even before that, because if you mind back, Paul, the Belly deal was already kind of in place before Rodgers came in, apparently.
Yeah.
Is this when that young lad has seemingly been on Celtic's radar since then? When he was out of contract with Fulham, Neil Lennon that was in charge, so we kind of dropped the ball on it, and now he's available again. So as I say, due Paul, for me, I think these kind of young guys signings are a bit more like maybe Tommy McIntyre's getting involved in that side of things. I mean, they're no way in the world that Ange knows this. That O'Reilly, if it played with MK Dons, do you know what I mean? So this has come from somewhere else in Celtic. But it seems to, it's a totally different. Even the fans, probably the way we feel when we're talking about transfers, we're not talking about nickel. It's nickel. We're asking if Ange is thinking these guys are good enough. The board don't seem to be actually driving it. Do you know what I mean? They're not driving the signings that kind of way. It seems to be coming off the Ange's final decision.
It's coming across, Mark, that what Michael Nichols is looking after the club and Ange is looking after the football.
Aye, Terence. Bang on, that's probably better than I did after that spiel.
The way it should be, and basically Ange...
Director of football and manager.
Say that again, Welshy.
Super Ange, director of football and manager.
Oh, I've played it before. Welshy, get Ange up to... I mean, he was 56 this year. I mean, he's not a young man. Give him a couple more years. Get him up the stairs as a director of football. Get me Sean Maloney in as coach.
See the way you look at the signings as well, though. These are young boys on long-term contracts.
Aye.
Yeah.
You know, and that it seems to be a mix of first team and it used to be all just all the projects, but now it seems to be a mixture.
I think that's the best about it.
We're buying players.
They're making an impact now.
Aye,
You know what I mean?
right away. We're still signing players that are, well, she says here, are kind of projects. I mean, O'Reilly's got to be a bit of a project.
The other thing as well is, even you look at the loan signings. When was the last time we had loan signings that made a big difference?
Yeah, I go back to probably Robbie Keane, I say. Patrick Roberts. You know? Mostly so Robbie Keane, though, I say, and Craig Bellamy, Mark Munton.
Aye, but I've said that as well, Paul. That's what loan signing should be. Loan signings should either, I mean, Carter Vickers and Jota, they're young players still trying to find a way. But do what we've done and take them on as a loan with an option to buy. And then, if you're taking on a loan player, it's got to be somebody you maybe usually normally couldn't get. I mean, it's like getting in and I mean, Laxalt, that John Joe Kenny fair, but I mean, we didn't even have deals in the deal. We didn't have a deal in, a permanent deal in their deals.
No.
They were just loan signings, stopgap signings, with no future at the club, no nothing.
That's the great thing about Jota. I mean, whether he stays or not, it's a massive stroke for the club to, you know, here's the opportunity, but see if you want to stay, we've got that in place. It's there.
Have you heard any update on that, Welshy, no?
Sorry?
Have you heard any updates on Jota or Vickers signings or?
No, I don't think you're going to hear anything. I think if it happens, it happens. I mean, Jota, whatever happens to Jota next season, you would never blame him for what he does. You know, he's for me, they've got no affiliation at the club, so to speak. So the fact that the offer's there, he can stay if he wants to stay. He can move if he wants to move. You know, I've had a lot of talk to people saying he go back to Benfica, but if they want to take him there, that's his boyhood club. You wouldn't blame him.
Mm-hmm.
But Welshy, see all these stories about the Benfica manager wanting him back. The Benfica manager's only a caretaker.
Oh, I know that. But surely that'd be no different to anybody else behind the scenes.
Aye, but the people behind the scenes let him go. And this story, see the story the other week, this Benfica insider says it was a massive blunder. It wasn't a Benfica insider, the guy was a journalist. That was a journalist wrote a story and said Benfica made a mad blunder putting a £6 million buyout clause in him. A daft man could have told you that after this length of time.
He's got to stay, he's got a song there.
I think he will sign. I put up on the forum about what I got off the head too. You know what I mean? There's a deal there for him. Kind of hanging there. Maybe it's a...
He must be, he should be back. What I look at with Jota as well is, you know, see if you look at Edward and Dembele, you know, Jota signs on with us. You know, they keep progressing the way he is, and let's make no bones about it. He's going to make it. So it'll be a big move after that.
Is Jota going to go back to Benfica? Is he going to go back to Benfica and be the starter every week with them? No chance.
That's the other thing as well with him. What's his ambition? Look at what happened to Roberts after he left us.
Yeah. Exactly. Where's he now? Sunderland, I think, now,
Aye.
or something like that.
Grass is always greener on the other side, like.
That's exactly that, Terms. Players have came and went, but it's always been proven such.
The one thing that's great with these transfers as well is the speed of them. For years, you'd see Celtic and they'd be linked with this player, and they'd be linked with him for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, and then eventually they would come along and go, "Oh, we were outbid by someone else." Some of these signings are literally like you hear the name Monday and he signed Tuesday, and I love that there's no farting about. It's literally bang, we want that guy. Obviously, they're doing stuff behind closed doors, but it's not coming out, which is great. And then before you know it, he's in the door and they're signed. And it's great to see that it's been done so quickly and so efficiently. Whereas for years, you'd look at Celtic and they might have been linked with whatever player it was, and it just seemed to drag on and drag on and drag on. A bit like the Eddie Howe thing, drag on and drag on and drag on, and then eventually some other club would take the player, and you'll be like, Jesus Christ, here we go.
Do you think maybe is there any position, Terence, you still think we need to sign some maybe in this transfer window, or do you think that's business done now for Celtic? Or
Lewis, Ferguson. That's who they should play. Lewis.
Mark?
Sorry, what, Paul? I thought Terence was in a wee chug there when he was saying that.
No,
Yeah.
that's what because I think McGregor is going to be out for a long time. A long time. And
Surely
we have got
it's only a broken jaw, Terence. Put a mask on.
this isn't Phantom of the Opera. I have no
Other
idea.
players have played with masks on to protect their jaws and things like that. Scott Brown wouldn't have been out with a broken jaw. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, he's going to be out for a good while with that.
Yeah, I think it's around 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, we've continually said before we have no hustle in the middle of the park.
I actually think if you're two boys that can pivot off a centre midfielder, I think Bitton could play that with his eyes shut.
He's been excellent this season, and she's no question about it. But I know it's going to happen, but I want to sign those. I think if you look at it, our midfield, McGregor, Turnbull, and Rogic that we had just before the transfer in January, which we said was a bit light anyway. We're now with 3 of them. 2 through injury and 1 because obviously I know
Mark?
but I do Ferguson.
Mark, is there any position you think maybe needs sorting before this transfer window closed, or are you happy with the squad where it is now? Or
I'm happy enough with where it is, Paul, really. I've been a bit surprised if there's maybe more signings to get made. Maybe another 1 or 2. I expect there'll be more people to leave right enough, but I still think that Angel maybe be still screwing about looking for somebody that can do a job for us. I think he's always looking for that. It's a while the window's open. I mean, he came out and said there was nothing else in the pipeline, and that was Riley signed up, so.
What about you, Brian?
Listen, to see the progression of the squad, the turnaround the squad to where it is from last season. I mean, there's obviously places we need to strengthen as the squad goes on, but whether it has all have to be done in this one window, another story. You know, it's when I look at McGregor, he might get really well. This boy will just sign O'Reilly. He might even get his opportunities quicker than you thought and turn into better players.
Because we saw that really on Ange, didn't we? Players getting their opportunity quicker than we thought. Well, didn't we? You know.
I mean, like I said, at the start of the season, you tell me we're going to be 4 points behind. Got his League Cup in the bag, still in contention, and some of the players we brought in. I think so far still we're good.
Mark, how do you think Scales done yesterday in the left back position?
I thought he played well, Paul. I thought he played well. I did a good. I know it's lower league opposition and that's it. But I thought he had a good game. I'd like to see him getting a run of games at that position, Paul.
He's
I really
good distribution as well, Mark. He put in some fine crosses there as well. Yesterday, I know it was against Alloa, but he seems to be getting more confident as he's playing, don't he?
Skills.
Yeah.
Aye, Paul. Even when he first came on with debut, I think he so many players. He just kind of slipped into the team when he's been asked to. It looks as if he's been playing there for a while. He doesn't. Do you know what I mean? And even all our signings have kind of done that.
I think that's what I was just about to say. I think we saw that. Like, it's going back to what Welshy is saying there. Like, that every signing we see, like that, the training in the background must be exceptional because the players are able to step in to on deadline, like on match day, Mark. You get me? You know what I mean? If there's an injury, players are there to be able to step into that role and play it. Like, you know. You there?
What?
No, what I'm saying, like, it just shows what's going on. It just shows what's
I
going on.
thought you were talking to Terence.
I was talking to you. I said,
I'm reading the live chat there. That's because I thought you were talking to Terence.
It just shows what I'm just doing behind the scenes, that these players were able to step up when asked into the first team. You know?
Aye, training. We've even spoke about it, Paul. The B team, the coach team's playing the same football and everything. It's the main team's playing, so it's a bit of a continuation. And the training's obviously getting these players prepared for matches.
Because I was reading there today, Montgomery looks like he could be going out on loan to Kilmarnock. You know, till the end of the season.
That's got to be a good move again, Paul.
Yeah, you know, so we're going to have. Does that mean Bolingoli will be staying, or do we still expect him to be leaving Terence O'Brien?
Bolingoli's been a weird one, hasn't he? He all of a sudden popped up against Livingston, then away again. I don't know. It's an odd situation with Bolingoli. Is he part of the squad or no part of the squad?
What would you think, Terence? You think maybe, like, if Montgomery does go out on loan now, like, we're going to have Taylor, like, Jovanovic can play there as well. Like, is he the number one left back there if Radisson is playing? Or
he's some player, by the way.
Yeah.
He's another one that's just come in and looked as if he's played there for years, isn't it, Jovanovic?
I know, you wouldn't have, like, Bolingoli, you just need to get rid of it. As the lads just said there, you've got Taylor, you've got Scales, you've got Jovanovic. You don't need Bolingoli. You know, just get rid of him, whatever way possible. Just get rid of him. He's a waste of time, a waste of space, a waste of a jersey, and just a waste.
Oh, I totally agree with getting rid of him there, Terence. It's just the fact that he's part of the squad.
It's easier said than done. I understand that it's easier said than done. Like, it's trying to get him off the books is the hard part. I'm sure Celtic are trying everything to get.
It's not just Celtic as well, but it's just down to, like, players'
agents. Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't just doubt for a minute that Celtic have told Bolingoli, Barkas, or his agents, look, find a club, you've got no future here, so find your client a club. So that's up to them to get that. And
do you think maybe, Mark, like,
maybe they're just, because they're getting paid the money and they're going, I'm not going anywhere. I'm getting paid 15, 18 grand a week. I'm happy enough go training every day and take my money. I mightn't get that somewhere.
But agents will be like that. If I can get you a move for £2 million, I'm getting £200,000 in my hip per day. That. I mean, agents are always looking for players to get moves. That's how you think. It makes you think. I mean, well, why can you not just click their fingers and get these moves for the likes of Bolingoli and Barkas and things like that? Maybe it's down to wages players are maybe a bit thinking, well, I want at least the kind of money I'm getting here and I'm not going anywhere, because nobody's got to take a loss in their wages kind of thing.
But not a big.
You've got to think as well, if we're not going to play him again, we're still paying him. Even if you pay his wages and put him out there and put him in the shop window.
Yeah, we have to play him, like, to put him in the shop window, Brian. Like,
no, that's what I mean. If we put him out alone and paid half his wages, 3/4 of his wages, we're paying him anyway.
Moving on, so let's find where I was there now. Like, bear with me, lads, just found the page.
Page 149.
I thought it was
Uh-huh.
Well, the secret diary of V Pablo, aged 39 and 3/4.
So Celtic's next trip is up on Wednesday in Edinburgh, away to the Hearts on Wednesday the 26th, kick off at 8:45. Another hard game, Terence, especially with injuries now and departures to the Asian Cup. We have McGregor, Wojciech, Maeda, Kyogo, maybe Gucci and Avila join that list. We always knew a trip up to the is it Tynecastle, isn't it, Marcus? Their stadium.
Tynecastle, aye, Paul.
Like it's always a tough trip to play Hearts, but more so to play them away. You know.
Yeah, well, it is, but I suppose the team is so drastically changed since the first game we played them. I mean, we spoke about the
I think that's
defensive.
what you said, Terence, didn't you? Like you could that was the day you saw the improvement in Celtic was between the first time we played them and the second win we played. You could see the progress on the Ange in those games.
Like you'll have Martin goals, you'll have maybe probably Taylor playing, and you'll the two centre backs and Juranovic probably playing. Not like of that what Starfelt was the only one that played that started that game. No, I think Taylor played as well, but that was Starfelt's first game. So it's a huge difference. Got a different team, and luckily enough, they've got plenty of numbers. And I'd imagine that Abada is okay as well, because I mean he came back onto the pitch at the end of the game. It was more of a minor knock. Obviously,
you got to think as well. It was Angie's first game, so
yeah.
Oh yeah.
what's changed since then?
Like it's another must-win game as well, Mark. And every game now seems to be.
Pam, to take it cut. You still there, Welshy?
Still here. Still here.
Terence.
Still here.
Oh, I thought you get cut off there. Sorry, Paul, when you go.
I was like every game now, Mark. Like they're coming quick and fast. Like midweek games now coming fast as well. Like it's giving these Celtic players little time to prepare for them. But Ange will have them pumped up for this game now as well, won't he?
Oh yeah. I don't think there's any doubt. I can't get pumped up for every game, Paul. But the games are coming this thick and fast. This is where like kind of sports science and stuff like that comes in. Just about keeping players at peak physical, peak of their physical as you can. You know what I mean? It's going to be. I mean, after even playing that sort of speaking about surface on Alloa, I mean, on the Saturday night, and then it's a real hard game up at Tynecastle on the Wednesday, but I'm sure Andrew will have the team well prepared for it.
But the big question is,
I'm quite confident.
You've got to think these boys as well. I mean, you know, these are professionals. They've just got to get to 4 points. We play them in 3. They've got to be pumped up. You know what I mean? If this is the league, 4 points. We've got to keep winning to where we play them and then take points off them. That's the only way it's going to happen. So they've got to be pumped up.
If you need the manager to have a player, any kind of players, they should be going to put up to the nines. They shouldn't need anyone to do it for them. They know what's at stake. They know they have to win all these games. They should just they should be someone to tell them, "Oh, you need to be pumped up for this. Or you need to be pumped up." I'm sure there's enough absolute players there. You'll have Joe Hart probably being captain. They'll know what they have to do, and hopefully they can a few goals in their throat in time.
What about that Joe Hart as captain? Do you agree with that?
I know. I saw that, Mark. Was it on the forum? Like, so one of them said that they want in favour of a goalkeeper being captain. I think it's going down to experience in the game, and there's no one really more experienced in the game than Joe Hart in our squad at the moment. So I think Joe Hart has to be captain there.
That's why I asked Paul, because you have on the forum. Because to be honest, does it really matter who's wearing the captain's armband in the next game or the derby game or whatever?
I see it another way. Joe Hart takes on the captain's role no matter whether he's got the armband or no.
Yeah,
that type of guy.
Exactly. Because you see that anyway, Brian, the way he holds himself in the game.
If you give it to somebody else and gives them a wee kick up, you know what I mean? boost the confidence.
Fuck's sake, don't give it to a Yeti anyway, for Christ's sake.
No, but I mean, you could see really, if Ralston was on the pitch, it could be Ralston. Even Carter Vickers, if James Forrest was on it. For me, during the games, who's the captain isn't really that big a deal.
But that's what we were saying, Mark. But even if Callum McGregor was the captain today, we can still see the experience of Joe Hart has on the team, the way he conducts himself to the players. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, that's what I mean, Paul. But it's the same guy, like the older statements of the squad, kind of like James Forrest. James Forrest just probably got a shout because he led the service. He's got a shout to be captain, and that wouldn't bother me. Right, Callum McGregor's like the club captain, but just because he's injured, see whoever's coming out with that captain's armband on. For that, I don't like a keeper being a captain. Why? What difference does it make? It just means he's the guy that's kind of shaking the other guy's hand at the start of the game.
Unless it's
Callum Vickers is a good shout. He's been solid all season.
Aye, but see, would it change his game? That's what I mean. Welshy, would it change his game?
No,
that's what I mean. Does it matter who it is?
But sometimes, Mark, sometimes though, giving the player the captain's armband can affect the player's game. The pressure of wearing the armband, it can affect.
That's when you see who steps up, though, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, that's who does he start in midfield now, though, with all these injuries with Roderick and Cal McGregor. You know, maybe I say Beaton is a something to start anyway. That holding wall now, I think.
I don't know. I think he'll maybe go for McCarthy.
Aye.
I think this is maybe a chance for McCarthy to show. I mean, you know how I feel about wee McCarthy. I like the wee guy and I love him as a player and that, but he's not the best that starts at Celtic. And, with no pre-season, any of the COVID thing and all that, blah, blah, blah. But this maybe be a chance for McCarthy to kind of step up to the plate.
One thing I actually...
show what he's got.
I like about McCarthy...
Give him the captaincy, you know what I mean?
But Brian...
Maybe even give him the captaincy. I'll just say, here you go, take your chances.
You're going on about experience there as well.
Aye.
Right, and there's no one other than, like, you could name the three senior players, McCarthy, McGregor and Hart, who've been there and done that. Do you know what I mean? International level and club level. You know? But one thing, Mark,
it's not the most important thing at the end of the day. I think that's the point you were trying to make there, Mark, isn't it? It's no, we've got captains on the pitch.
Aye. I don't think it affects any kind of player, whoever's or anybody else on the park, as if the captain's armband. I didn't get it. Cal McGregor's still the captain of the club, and everybody else is getting a shot of the band. They're just babysitting it to his back.
But that's what we said, Mark. Like, that's what Hart and McCarthy will bring to Callum McGregor. They'll bring this experience to him that's needed, like leaders, you know?
He'd lead leaders on the pitch. As you said, the boy, as Mark and Brian were saying, it doesn't really matter necessarily the captaincy. It's once you have leaders on the pitch like Vickers, or if McCarthy plays, or if it's Beaton, or if it's Hart or Juranovic, it's guys stepping up to the plate, and guys leading by example is what's going to be Celtic over the line. It doesn't matter if as Mark was saying there, it doesn't matter if it's Ralston or if it's Joe Hart or if it's whoever. But if you've got guys lead by McCarthy starts and he puts in a display, or Beaton starts and the way he's been playing super, and or whoever the Jota is playing and he plays well. It doesn't matter once you've got guys step up to the plate and wanting to be leaders in the team and driving the team forward. That's what matters. It doesn't matter who has the armband.
The fact that we've got a discussion about it, it's not nailed on, just shows we have got a couple of leaders on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, kind of when Scott Brown was there, like, and no disrespect to Scott Brown or anything like that, but he was the leader and that was it, Mark, wasn't it? You know what I mean? He was.
That's the thing again, Paul. You get different types of characters.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Aye.
No, we have proper, like, I was not saying proper, like, we have numerous leaders within our squad, like, who can fill this role of captaincy.
I've seen like modern football, Paul, big clubs. I think a lot of it's down to like your personality as well. You know, I'm saying, like, I mean, Joe Hart, what we've read and that, I mean, Joe Hart's a big personality in the changing room.
Yeah.
He's always there to talk to young players and get a wee bit of guidance and a wee bit of helping hand and that. So he's got a lot of
See him there,
respect.
Joe, the guy taking the young girl's camera phone and giving her a picture with Yotta.
But he's
You know
got,
what I
so
mean?
he's got a lot of respect in the dressing room. The players obviously respect him. That's why he probably got it when Calmac went off yesterday. Because I said, Paul, when we signed him, a lot of these young players in that will be a couple of years ago, man. This guy was England's #1. This guy's, do you know? I mean, this guy's played with Man City. He's been England's #1 at World Cups and stuff like that. I mean, Joe Hart is a big name in football still.
Like you think, Mark, like going to what you're saying there, like Joe Hart, like years ago, he was England #1, played with Manchester, won leagues and stuff like that. Like a lot of people were saying, like he's past it and stuff like that, but like Joe Hart and Celtic were a match made in heaven because he's getting game time. He's buying into what Celtic is. He's buying into the fans. You know what I mean? He has to be.
I
the
think
best
if Joe
signing.
Hart plays for a Sunday League team, he's still be the same. He's just got that
Yeah,
character
that
about him. He's just
character about him, like yeah, you know. But Mark, go back to what you were saying about James McCarthy, and you mentioned it about Alloa. You know, is that the type of player we need in the Hearts game that's going to give a kick around, that's going to give the likes of Halliday a kick up the hole or things like that? Do we need that type of player in this game?
For a couple of years, Paul, now I think that's what Celtic's midfield's been missing.
Yeah.
But I think that's why we've lost a lot of the derbies. Paul, you said we've not beaten for 2019.
1st of September 2019, yeah.
We just seem to, Paul, we get out-muscled in midfield. Even under Brendan Rodgers and that, we get out-muscled in midfield, and that's where the cracks started to appear. And I think McCarthy, don't get us wrong, I think Beaton's been one of the most improved players under Ange, just behind Ralston. It's been a great season when he's been called upon. But McCarthy's got that wee bit of dig. We know that's the type of player that he is. I would like to see Ange, if he's fit enough, get McCarthy in the team and let's see if he can grab the chance and show that he is capable of still playing for a club the size of Celtic.
Who's going to fill into the Roger and we say Cal McGregor roles, Mark, up the two front attackers behind? You know, do you think Hayase and maybe O'Reilly, like Brian was saying there, might get his chance to be thrown in there?
I think Itachi will be playing. I think he'll certainly start, but other position, I don't know if he'll put that O'Reilly in, Paul.
I think if he's face, and this is only if he's face, Abada might slot in there, and maybe Forrest might come in the ring.
Oh, that's a good shout, Paul. That could work.
You know, because we've seen him through the middle, and he's effective. I think he's more effective in the middle than he is out in the wings anyway.
So into a back, well, we've just
It's actually so hard.
We've just said
Like,
Paul, it really is. But we've just spoke about like stats that Abad has put in, playing out in the right, fair dues, he played through the middle in one game, but you can't fault his the stats for out in the right. So it's a weird gene. I think I would go with McCarthy and Itachi, and I don't know. Yeah. I mean, because obviously we just moved Turnbull out to that position with Rock where Vogic would play kind of thing. Because I've seen before, they're very, very similar for me. A bit too similar at times. I think Rogic is going to be a bit of a miss just for Angie's system.
Or will Yasser will Yasser come in and maybe Forrest out on the left or Abad out on the left? You know, it's hard to call a start lineup now, Brian, isn't it?
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's a very good thing. I mean, if we who follow Celtic in the week can't pick the first team, neither can they. You know, so it surprises there. Spoke about
that. I think it was the last pod, Brian. The Brendan Rodgers that brought it in, they changed the way the team sheets get printed out, so that they couldn't tell. I mean, the way it used to be printed out was like 4-2-3-1. And then they went and just started doing it with numbers. They started doing it with their numbers kind of thing. It was a Rodgers thing, and he says they can't tell where the players are going to be playing then. And it's even at that, even if Ange did put the team sheet in that, you still don't know.
Mark, I actually couldn't tell the positions of the attacking lineup against Alloa the other day.
No, you
I really couldn't. You know, they were.
We didn't know. We don't know where.
There was everywhere.
Aye, that's it. We don't know where these guys are going to play. Because even actually, Paul, you're saying, oh, you're playing the left and things like that, and then Ange came out and said he sees some kind of attacking midfield and things like that. But it's just, I think it's going to take us a wee bit of time to just stay up. I mean, really, Paul, we've got a brand new team.
Yeah.
They're only, 6 months
They're only getting used to this system as well, like, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, they're still not a solid starting 11, Mark, bar one or two players like McGregor, Vickers, Starfelt and Hart, really, like, do you know what I mean? You know?
No, you could chop and change everything else, Paul.
Mark, here's a good one for you. And we spoke about Forrest for a long while. Joseph is saying there, hail. A chance Forrest still not match fit, a good hard tackle, and Forrest will be out of the game again. Like that, it's going back to what we're saying about James Forrest's fitness. Really kind of Mark under Ange, isn't it? That he seems to be
struggling to keep any kind of fitness level consistently for a while now. Now, the problems like that when he was younger, Paul. Because we've spoken about that before, but I've said, Paul, I think for me now, James Forrest, squad player for Celtic. I think he'll struggle to become like a first kind of picky. I think if Abad is fit, 3 Japanese guys, any one of them really, Paul, could play in that right wing as well. Yeah. I think Forrest just going to be used as a kind of backup player for now on.
Then on Saturday the 29th, kick off at 3 o'clock, Celtic are at home. Dundee United will be travelling to Celtic Park. Jonas's Dundee have been slipping down the league table recently. One recently signed Tony Watt from Motherwell. Terence, you think it's a good time to be facing Dundee, or you know they really need to start getting results? You know, 2 games we had, and they were 2 tough games we had against Dundee United.
Yeah, they were. No, in saying that, they were slightly unfortunate in that game. You know, another day, one of those goes in. But listen, I just think Celtic just need to worry about themselves, do what they do it well, and you know, if they can for me, they just need to keep playing at a high tempo. If they can keep playing at a high tempo, moving the ball fast. We're lucky now that with the transfer window that we've got players in, because we've got the guys now that we still got players in of quality that can replace them. A couple of weeks ago, we'd have been absolutely screwed, like what we were the St. Johnson game for the stop. So look, they just need to get the Hearts game, deal with the Hearts game, then go to the Dundee game, and just like if they play the way we know Celtic play, most teams won't be able to do the pot. And then it's at the game against the Bills.
Brian, going back to a point there what Terence said, and you said it numerous times as well, let's not worry what they're doing at the other side of the city, just concentrate on what we're doing, and we win our games and we put the pressure on them. You know,
that's always been the case in Scotland.
Yeah.
Always been the case in Scotland. We do our thing. Ultimately, it usually comes out of the games against them. So you just got to keep winning your games constantly.
I think it's vital, Brian, that we as you said there, like it's 4 points, like we close the gap, like see how they're what way they buckle. Like if we bring that gap down to 1 point before the Derby game, like the pressure's back on them then, like, you know what I mean, and see how they handle pressure then, because they haven't been tested for a year now, really, under pressure.
It makes a change as well. Nice to get the points in the bag before they play.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes with arms, you've got always to play catch up constantly.
Yeah. Like we've always playing kind of a day after them, or do you know what I mean, or thing like that, Mark, isn't this? You know?
That's it. Just keep winning Marine games, Paul. And just whatever happens with them, let it happen. We're winning. That just says the pressure right on them, and they'll collapse again.
But I think it's who I think Gianmarcus is going to be the striker for the 3 games. Like, he needs to be really stepping up now, Mark, don't he? We need to be putting away these chances in these big games, like Scotland against Alloa. I know we got through, but these are big games. We have to be taking our chances in these games as well, don't we?
That is goal last night, Paul. That was just a pure poacher's goal.
Yeah.
And that's talking about players like Lee Griffiths. You know what I mean? If Lee Griffiths, what could have happened, what could have been. That for me last night was a typical kind of Lee Griffiths, Gary Hooker type of goal, Paul. It was a kind of poacher's goal, so maybe that's something that I've been missing, sir. I mean, the guy's a top goal scorer in Collins, sir.
We have to, but then we'll have to get the crosses in.
The thing is, you say about him, but we need to play his strengths for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if we go back to, if Taylor starts in these games, which I think he probably might, like, Taylor's distribution isn't better than Juranovic or Scales' distribution. Do you get me? So it's only going to be one side really that the ball might be coming into, and that will be through the right hand side if Taylor starts the game.
I don't think Taylor will start. I think you'll play Juranovic and Ralston.
Juranovic and Ralston, Brian, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Juranovic should play right back, but I think he'll go with Juranovic and Ralston.
Yeah, I would think so as well. I think Juranovic was rested for a reason, actually, against Alloa, I think, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, very possibly. I mean, don't get me wrong, Juranovic is a fit boy. I just think he's been a great signing for us. I think he'll definitely play Juranovic, and I think he'll go with Ralston at right back.
It's even his coolness taking penalties as well, like, in this, just a pure calm player, like, isn't he?
That's his all-round play.
Yeah.
It's his all-round play. Like, take the penalty, apart from these coolest penalties, but he just looks so comfortable on the ball, and the more you look at it, the more you see of him, the more impressed you are. And
he's got fight in him as well. You see him complaining,
yeah.
Go his own way. He's constantly up and down. He's been a great signing, fantastic signing.
Like, our best left back in the squad is a right back that we signed for the right back, but because Radisson is playing so well, like, I don't see why Radisson could be dropped. So it makes sense to put Ivanic out in the left back, don't it?
Well, you're spot on there, Paul. He's the best left back, and that's nothing I get. I've spoke about Taylor and we've spoke about Scales and that, but for me, Juranovic has been the most solid left back this season so far. And Ralston says he's doing nothing wrong at right back, so that's who I would go for as well.
He's one of the best footballers in the team, to be fair. Juranovic, technically, he seems to have, he's technically so good. He seems to have a great footballing brain about it. He never looks like he's rushed on the pitch. He always looks like he has time, and it always, obviously, that's who plays a good football or whatever. You always see a good player on the pitch, and he looks so good when you watch him playing.
Like, Mark, there's going back to the topic we were talking about, transfer business. Like, there we have a Croatian international that we signed from Legolasov in the Porsche League for 3.5 million. That's a steal in the transfer market now. Like, to buy a player that quite, you know what I mean? And I think when we signed him, Mark, I was saying too, like, that all over the Polish media, they were saying, like, how is Celtic getting him for this price? Like, do you know what I mean? You know?
That's good scouting in that.
Yeah,
Paul.
it is. But that's going down to two, Mark, that the end of Peter Law's regime is gone, and buying average players for high fees as well, like, isn't it?
Overall package as well, isn't it? It's literally scouting there, but with his contract situation as well.
Aye, so these factors, and the scouts look at all this data analysis stuff and that, Paul, kind of, I know this times G stuff that you understand better than me, do you know what I mean? But that's good scouting to find players like that, and that's what Celtic should be. That's what Celtic should be doing.
I think it's a market definitely Celtic should be looking at, is the Eastern European leagues, like, because there's players there like who would suit the Scottish game as well, toughness and they're ball players. Like, I mean, they play football in these leagues. Matt Jonas was on the podcast with us, and he said it, like, these teams play football. Do you know what I mean?
You've only got how Scottish teams fare in Europe. You look at the way we struggle against some of these European teams. You know that there's players out there.
Yeah, like, we're the same terms with Ireland. We struggle against these teams because we don't know their players. Do you know what I mean? We don't know what way they play. Like, and Ireland always seemed to struggle against these teams, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, Paul, but it was like we were saying there before. Sometimes there's an arrogance to say, geez, we don't want to be looking at Croatia, or we don't want to be looking at Hungary for players, or we don't want to be looking at China player. Or you'll have to look at in the German league, or you'll have to look in the Premier League. Yeah, we got John Joe Kenny from the German league on loan from them. We got the 80 from West Ham.
Exactly.
Lacks out for Milan.
I think that has changed under Angelo, Mark, this arrogance, isn't it? That, like, look at the players we've signed, like, I mean, that...
I think Angelo, just to be fair, I think with Angelo, he'll see if the players they fit into his system, he'll not take them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that as well, Paul.
But that's what we were saying, Mark, wasn't it?
They've got to be able to play the way Ange wants them to play, but
if Peace or Laura was still there, Mark, imagine that, like, Jesus, that it never work.
See what Terence is saying there about this kind of arrogance, he's spot on. Because you see the thing about that is Chelsea and Man City are scouring Hungary and Czech is even there anymore. Czech Republic and places. Chelsea and Man United and Man City and Barcelona, they're all scouring every corner of the earth for players.
Mm-hmm.
And if Barcelona signed like Juranovic, you know what I mean? Nobody would bat an eyelid and say, "Oh, he only came for that league, he can't be any good." It would be like, he must be good. Barcelona signed him.
I don't think Barcelona could afford 3.5 million.
But you know what I mean. That's the kind of terms and saying that kind of snobbery. And let's face it, nobody's coming into Scotland and buying bitty bit part players for £3.5 million. Unless like Celtic, maybe Rangers. Do you get what I mean?
It's big money for Celtic, Mark. I mean, it's big money. Like 3.5 million is.
Well, Boyle,
big money for Celtic.
but even much did Boyle go to Saudi Arabia for?
3 million, I think.
Was it 2.5 he went for?
I thought it said 3 million.
3 million, yeah, but add-ons.
I mean,
yeah,
that's brilliant for Hibs. Right, and do you think Saudi Arabia fans are sitting there doing that? He must be pissed, man. He came for Hibs.
No,
do you get what I mean? Nobody just. As Terence says, it's this kind of. And under, but see us as like Scotland, we've got no right to look down our nose at anybody, Paul.
No.
Put Terence is saying this kind of snobbery.
Well, that's what I was saying about Scales that time. Like, people were saying, "Oh, so Desmond doing Shamrock Rovers a favour, or he's not good enough to think like." But like, he's 2 assists and he's 1 goal, and he's only played a handful of games, Mark. And anytime Scales has come in, he seems to be getting better and better.
Even when you look at this day, like, you talk about Starfelt's a Swedish international.
Yeah.
He's a Swedish international, and he's coming to play Scotland. But you talk about teams buying his bit back players, 3.5 million there. He's a big squad player for anybody.
Yeah.
Coming to Scotland.
Yeah, I think.
See, like Starfield, I don't know, but who's sitting in the middle of the English?
We say, Mark, he could jump into that Everton team at the moment.
But say Starfield signed for Everton 2 years ago or something like that and wasn't getting a game. If he signed him for Everton, people would go, "Oh, he must be good because Everton signed him."
Yeah.
And other folk would be like, "Oh, he must be shite because he's not getting a game for Everton." It's just bonkers.
See, in reality, though, we're not competing with English Premier teams for players. We're competing with League One.
Aye.
You know what the money they pay and the wages they can pay.
And we're looking at like kind of players that are out of favour with their clubs down in England, the likes of Scott Sinclair and things like that. They've worked for us over the years. We're never going to buy any English team star player. But it's just that Celtic fans are looking, their mindset seems to be, unless you're coming for this big team that cost millions upon millions of pounds, you're not used to Celtic. And then the same folk are coming out bamming up about and Ange we trust and stuff like that.
As you said there, lad, before, Mark, we said, like, look at the most famous one for us is Moravcik. Like, everyone laughed when Moravcik.
If you look at it another way, see if that was any other manager that signed 4 players for Japan, what would the fans be thinking?
They'd be going mad.
You know what I mean? But he knows these players. They're coming in. It's a whole different market.
But that's going.
But that's what we're saying, Welshy. It's like, right, Ange signs the Japanese players, all right. Ange just signed him, so brilliant. They must be good. Ange wants them.
But if they're not then they're not his signings, Mark. Then exactly.
But then we sign Scales, and it's that's Dermot Desmond just trying to prop up this wee Irish club because they need money. You know how Ange has had, as I've said to we spoke about this even on here and privately, Paul. For me, guys like Tommy McIntyre's got a bit of a say in all these kind of young player signings.
So do you know the young lad we signed there, Mark, the fella Kenny, John Kenny, the lad from Sligo Rovers that we signed.
And Celtic's been scouting him for
We
years.
scouted him for 2 years. 2 years. We scouted him for 2 years.
Right, so a Butifo under an Ange signing. For me,
no, so that's what you were saying, Mark. It's the likes of McIntyre and McCart. Maybe we're looking at him like for the development squads.
Maybe they're looking at the kind of longer term signings, Paul, the new, and Ange's looking at the ones for here and now kind of thing.
But it's good, Mark, like, because like you look at the way, like we always said there was big problems on our academy over the years, and which there was, but now the coach team's there and they're playing the same system as the first team. Like, so when we're signing these young players, Mark, they're going into the coach team and they're learning straight away how to play the way the first team wants them to play. So they're learning. They're able to step into the first team, and we saw that this year under Ange, young players able to step into. Look at the Real Betis game. Young players stepped in.
They know their job.
Yeah.
They maybe struggle to do their job when they make a step up for the odd wee game, Paul. But they still know the job they have to do on the pitch because they've been taught that for every level.
Exactly. They know the way the first team plays, like, so they're not coming in there into the unknown, like which we saw. I think that's maybe. That could be the big reason, Mark, why our young players were leaving, because they had no training. They weren't learning how, and they were going into the first team then, and they were just failing miraculously in the first team. Do you know what I mean?
Going for the sake of it now, that's the good thing.
Sorry, who was that, Welshy?
We're not just buying squad players anymore. That's the difference. We're not just filling the squad for nothing.
No.
Like you say, they're either coming in to make a difference in the first team, or they're going to the coach to learn the system. And that's, I mean, we talk about director of football. That's the way we should be going.
100%. But there, and what we're saying about the team, all the teams at every level playing the same system, etc. And that Barcelona, Ajax, and that they've been doing this for donkeys years.
The case is like they're buying their young players from lower leagues as well. Do you get me? They're scouting across the continent as well to bring these younger players in and develop them to the first team. Like, there's no difference from Celtic, like what we're doing.
I mean, Celtic,
it's just a snobbery.
Celtic fans, like, it's like we sell KT for 25 million, and every left back for the next 20 years probably got to get compared to KT. Maybe we'll never find like a better player than KT in the 20 years, but see, when you get to Ajax will sell a player for like 30 odd million. The fans on the uproar that they're replacing them with somebody at their youth team, or replacing them with a guy that costs £2 or £3 million.
I saw a nice thing there about Ajax there last night. They were playing some lower team there in the Dutch Cup, and they were winning 9-0. And the other team brought on a substitute, and the substitute was still he was diagnosed with cancer, and he was still getting his chemo. And he came onto the pitch, and the Ajax players lined up and gave him a guard of honour when he came onto the pitch and clapped him for coming onto the pitch. Like, that just shows what kind of club Ajax is out and out, Mark, don't this? You know?
I hate them. No, do we want to go there, Welshy?
No, don't get me started.
Yeah, but your setup though is next to none, though, Mark. Like, we have to say that.
No, they're actually
in my mind.
That's like football and the way they run their club and that. I've got no fault with them whatsoever, man. The kind of ideal model is what Celtic should be basing their own club on, but apart from that, nah, hate Ajax.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing about the transfer, which is even mentioned, well, every player that brought in, basically, you could see them playing in the first team, and that's a massive difference than to before. And as well as in regards to the academy players, the one thing that Celtic had been saying all along is that they can't they didn't have a centre forward in the Colts team that they basically go from the Colts team to the first team. So now they were able to bring in Dawson, and he was able to come in against St. Johnson, and obviously now they've brought Kenny in, and I'm assuming they're doing the same process of trying to get them through the Colts and groom them and get them up to speed and get them that if there ever is a situation that they can hopefully bring them forward.
Yeah, Zach, we've the young lad. Is it Veta, Mark? Is it the young lad Veta?
Local Vata.
Vata, yeah.
Aye.
I mean, like, because back when we started this podcast, and we were going through the list, like, there was no striker to step up to the first team that time. Remember
No,
that?
there wasn't one single striker, Paul.
Yeah.
And that's only. Pardon me, that's not even a year ago, Paul.
You know, like, it just shows how, actually, Mark, it actually shows how a benefit the Colts team was, you know, and it's something that really needs to be looked at. But we spoke about it loads of times with Terence and Mark, but something needs to be done about the reserves leagues in Scotland as well, don't it? You know, like, to get these young players playing football week in and week out.
One of them is either the reserve
Right.
league or the reserve league or the Colts league, but something has.
Yeah.
One of them has to be the Colts league has to keep going, or they have to be allowed to keep playing, or the reserve leagues to come back, because otherwise you just have young guys training, and they're not going to get a game, and they're going to do like the other young guys. They're going to have to go away. Where the countries that do have.
And to be fair, like, they're holding their own, Mark, aren't they? You know?
Well, they're doing better than I thought they would do.
Yeah,
As I said, I thought they would just get down there and get kicked up and down the place, to be honest. Just
See,
a
to be
crowd of young lads against what we saw last night, Paul, with Alloa.
The results and everything else is actually irrelevant when it comes to the Colts. It's about getting out every week and playing that system, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, but like going forward, Brian, like, what's the plan? Like, because this Colts team is only going to be till the end of the season. Like, you know what I mean? Is it going to be renewed, or are they going to bring back a reserve league? Like, there's big questions there to be asked. Like, what's happening next season? You know?
That's not something I can answer. Don't know, but obviously.
No, that's like, yeah. None of us can.
William Smith on the live chat there.
No, but Mark, that's
the lines will never be replicated, but who knows with 11 men for Japan.
You know, but Mark, that's
every player born 3,000 miles away.
Mark, but Mark, that's the answer that everyone has to that question. Like, I don't know what's going to happen next season. We don't know. Do you know what I mean?
And it's Paul, we're nearly in February. It's something that should have been. Well, we don't know if it's been discussed behind the scenes, but you'd like to think it's something that they've actually held talks about the future of it is.
It's obviously a different situation to get something competitive for these boys, though, isn't it? You know, because you know you're talking about what we would call elite boys coming through. I mean, half these boys are probably better than half the teams that play in the league anyway. Do you know what I mean? But it's difficult to get that development from. You've only got to look at the English leagues. They've got their Premier League development squad and stuff like that. But I don't even see how much fruition comes for them either. Do you know what I mean? We need something for sure, definitely for sure, that the boys can play every week. Because what's the point of bringing people out to play in a system when they're going to sit on the bench every week? You can't just keep training them. They've got to play.
That's going back to what Terence is saying. Like, what are they going to be doing? Kicking the ball and training week in and week out, Terence. You know what I mean? Something needs to be.
I know a lot goes on with it. They go down, they'll play teams down south and stuff like that, won't they? There's always bounce games.
There's bounce games there, Mark, but they're not competitive. They're not week in and week out that they need to be playing to develop them properly, Mark. Do you get me?
I mean, we're going about some of the tackles last night, but to be honest, Paul, I would rather maybe no young players, 17, 18-year-olds playing against teams.
Yeah,
like
but the age limit that we have now, Mark, in the Colts league.
But see about 21, I don't see anything wrong with playing against a physical team to kind of toughen you up. I've spoken about it, Paul.
Well, you've got to look at Shaw and Origese. They've come to the first division. They've come to Sheffield Wednesday. Them boys can handle themselves.
Yeah.
That's the type of players we're putting into the development squad.
That's another good move for him, actually, in this Shaw.
Get some playing, Paul.
Yeah. You know, get him.
And just because we've spoken about Cal Mark to Notts County and places like that, for me, maybe it's like when we look back at history and that, we've said hindsight's a wonderful thing and that. David Beckham went to Preston and loan in places like that. I mean, maybe it is a kind of thing that we should look at for the final 6 months of your kind of education before.
Did Harry Kane go to? Was Harry Kane at
Harry,
that time with Cal McGregor, wasn't he?
was it Harry Kane?
Oh, Jack Grealish was at Notts County.
Jack Grealish, aye.
Did Harry Kane not go to Leighton Orient or something?
Yeah, he went down to lower leagues as well, didn't he? At the start, didn't he?
Look at Aya when he went to Kilmarnock. It was you're going to play centre half.
And
That's the kind of thing you want.
It should be part of it. Christie went to Aberdeen and came back a totally transformed player terms.
Yeah,
Totally.
came back American footballer.
But it should be something that we look at as a kind of part of a plan for making a player good enough for our first team. Getting them out for the final kind of 6 months. Even they're just kind of teetering on whether the first team squad or the reserves or coach or whatever you want to call it. Put them out on loan for the 6 months and get them toughened up and used to playing games week in and week out, being part of a first team squad. Barry spoke about this, Paul. That's why he went to Aki's on loan, so that he was playing every week and things like that. So it's something that Celtic should be looking at doing. Don't even look into dealing with get feeder clubs involved in things like that.
Do we actually?
He was at Ross County, he's at Leo Helden, he went going to Leeds.
Aye. The Leeds fans are raving about him on their forum terms. They're delighted with him.
Speaking of Leo Helder, Mark, what did he said? What did he say about Lennon, Mark? That the training sessions under Lennon are nothing compared to what he's doing now in Leeds, and Lennon told him he needed to put on
I think
weight.
everybody would say the same thing at Bielsa, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but he was told to pull on weight by Neil Lennon, and then when he went down to Leeds, Mark, they told him that he was 2 stone overweight.
Well, he's probably still quite skinny compared to Neil Lennon.
But I think Lee Lennon told every player to put on weight. I think.
But see, really, Paul,
The Scottish game did as well, Mark.
Not even that. It was back to what Neil Lennon kind of learned under Martin O'Neill. Then his first time as manager of Celtic, Paul. But I mean, football's moved on for 2011 when Neil Lennon was first one manager, and it was just still big, physical. I mean, there is a lot of teams in Scotland trying to play football and play different games to come up, as we know that, but when they're playing games at their own level, they're trying to play the game. Neil Lennon was just a dinosaur, and that's what he thought. Just get bulked up and that'll be you. As long as you're big and strong, you'll be able to do a job for me.
Remember Lennon playing in the side. Lennon played in the side that was massive.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, that was a big team back then.
It's as if it was a kind of hangover. He's always tried to replicate Martin O'Neill's style. He just been big strong. Aye, but it just Lennon just wanted a big, strong team.
That was the same, Mark, when he first came manager. He had all these big players in his team. Did as well. Lennon did. Like when he first came manager, we'd Foster. Christ, I can't even think of him now.
Yeah.
We had big players in Lennon's team.
That's 10 years ago, Paul.
Team as well. Stratton's team was a big team as well.
Aye, that's aye. So, but Stratton kind of went that same kind of route. So he did Welshy, but that's what Lennon kind of get stuck in that rut. Never learned anything about even man management. I mean,
even the sport,
and stuff and all that. He never moved with the times and tried to better himself in that. And now
that's like Cormac was when he brought in Anton and he brought in the other lad, and he said, like, I'm not the best at that and stuff like that, but that's why I'm bringing in these fellas who do those jobs for me. Do you know what I mean? That's showing that he needs these people around him to do the job for modern football.
I mean, I know I wind up about John Kennedy and that, Paul, but Ange's been there 6-7 months now. We've won a cup, we're in touching distance for the league. We're all delighted with the football we're playing, blah, blah, blah. So does Kennedy and Stratton will deserve some of that credit as well?
Oh, without doubt, I said that to Mark. I said we actually could see now, Mark, that Strachan isn't on the touchline. He's up in the stands and he's showing the players what they have to do when they go onto the pitch.
No one actually talks about Strachan anymore.
Exactly.
So,
We don't need to be talking about Strachan. You know what I mean?
It's not even a topic of conversation anymore.
No,
we
you
don't.
get tortured.
But Mark, that's the way it should be. Like, we shouldn't be talking about Strachan.
No.
Strachan should be on the touchline.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's not a coach. Strachan's a data analyst. Do you know what I mean? He's brought in to do this job, and he's doing the job now, Mark, that he was brought in to do.
And I said it before, I just think Neil Lennon didn't trust that kind of method. He did, like, with the data analyst stuff and all that. I mean,
he's showing the players, Mark, like,
he's showing them,
when they come on, like, you know what I mean, where they need to go, like, and do you know what I mean, like, and that's what he was brought in to do, like. But as he said there, like, Lennon just wasn't with it, like, you know what I mean.
He was, as I said, he had no time for someone to say, as I said, the stats. This guy's this and this guy's that. His notion was that's shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can shove your numbers up your wherever.
aye.
That's right. I'm gonna, as opposed to, because all these guys now would all have these little track things under training gear to tell them how far he's run, how hard he's.
And that's what Strachan does, Terence. It's the numbers that he crunches, wee black bra things, and that's the numbers he crunches on the park. So he's telling players, like, you go on there, they're not covering this, area on the park, you exploit that, you do that. And see, probably, maybe Ange doesn't understand that, and that's why he leaves it to these guys.
Exactly.
And when they produced a report, and that's all they want at the end of it, the end result is go, well, basically, look, Abada's not tracking back. He's not coming here. He's not helping. That's why that's why we're under pressure down the right back position, or that's why we're getting caught out in midfield, or whatever it may be. And when they can show them the facts and figures and the stats, then that's when they can work on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's huge because I had a friend in work, and he was in one of the hurling teams, the Clare hurling team, and he explained to me a fella that he got in to do all the data analysis, and it was unbelievable. It was absolutely unbelievable, the stuff that your man was doing. So I can only imagine the level that Strachan is at, and it can only benefit Celtic. And obviously, Ange, as you said, Mark, is going, you do your job, what you're doing. Just come and tell me, give me the final information, and then I can work with it from there. And that clearly is what happened.
Mm-hmm. And so Celtic's third game under the floodlights on Wednesday, the 2nd of February. Bring on the Rangers. Bring on small Gio's size 3 foot. Celtic will be turning to midweek football against Rangers. Big game, Mark. I actually feel confident that we'll take them. Like, I'm not seeing anything special from Rangers, and they won the league because we bucketed last season, but I think Celtic should be taking this, Mark.
Right, so I'm quite confident Paul will beat them, even though the fact that we're at home. But that's always a big factor in these games, you know that.
Is there still no away fans in this game? Is that still the same issue there? Or?
Away fans, what games?
No, won't get it. It's all Celtic fans. Like, that's only a bonus note for us, Welshy. You know?
What do you mean away fans at what games?
Like
the Derby, Welshy.
The Derby.
They've got 800, haven't they?
They've got the 800. I didn't know how it was going with COVID, so it's still the 800.
No, it's the same when the Hibs game happened up there. One of the boys said to me that there was no Hibs fans, but there was Hibs fans in there.
Are you going up to it, Welshy?
Welshy will be there. He's a glory hunter. He only comes up for the big games.
Yeah, don't use that.
He comes up for the big games, just sits there drinking Buckfast and turpentine when they're
I need to rewatch it after it, like, mind you. But no, I'll be there. Definitely I'll be there.
Fairly confident, Welshy, out there?
I'm always confident against them. Always confident against them. Never go to a game against them thinking we're going to get beat. Never. In fact, I never go to a Celtic game thinking we're going to get beat. Always confident.
Mm-hmm. Terence?
You sure mean the strength and depth that Ange has brought in, as I said, we're able to replace quality with quality. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And
it's going to be special as well. Like
the fact of the matter is, it means nothing if we drop points before it. We've got to get max points before it.
That's true, Reggie. Yeah, that's the main thing. We can't drop points. Like, I think the Hearts and Dundee United game are nearly as more important, Mark, than the Rangers game. Keep the pressure on them.
Right now, and bet you a pound to a penny that I'm just saying the same thing. The most important game to Celtic now is the Hearts game.
Hearts game, yeah. Don't look ahead to the next.
That's the next. That's it. We concentrate on the Hearts game, and then concentrate on the Dundee United game. And I'll be quite close to winning that as well. Again, Paul, because we're at home and Dundee United are floundering a bit, but I'm totally confident, Paul, we'll still be getting into the derby game. Just and the same or even better off. I mean, Ross County away for them is going to be a tough one.
And Mark, it's going to be special as well. We only talked about it a few weeks back, like some special nights under the floodlights at Celtic Park against Rangers, some great goals. And we were saying, will we ever see that again under the floodlights? Like, it hasn't happened since McCoist and Lennon spats, but like it's going to be a cracker under the floodlights again. Won't they? Full house and everything, Mark.
Get the disco lights going and the tunes going. Welsh will be there leading the choir and that. So.
Here I might even have a spare ticket, so I'll let you know.
There you go, Marky. Right, there you go.
Oof. I'll need to talk to Grot Bags about that.
But it will, like, it will be like it'll be a special night, like, to see, like, it's good, like, that we and I hope there's no violence or anti-crap like that we can have these derbies at night time again, like, do you know what I mean? You know?
Oh, well, I mean, a good thing about that is that there's only got to be 800 of them in there, so. I mean, it's a spectacle, Paul, that people watch around the world, and we undersell it to an extent, but see, to the other extent, Paul, see the kind of actual vile side, do you want the world to see this country? Do you get what I mean?
No.
Even, can you not just get back to it in the 90s where it was just like, it was hated, but if really well, she'll know what I'm talking about. It's kind of way it was now. It's toxic, a lot more toxic than even I can remember.
Welshy there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my earphones have died, so I'm trying to hear you on the phone.
Oh, but what I've seen there, Welshy, it's a lot, it really is a lot more, maybe social media is not helping that again. It's really a lot more toxic than even it was like in the 90s and times like that.
Oh, you can't beat it.
No, you can't, no, but I'm talking about like the actual, what Paul's saying. We should be kind of selling this, see, under the floodlights at Celtic Park, or even if Ibrox a night-time game, hyping everything up. It's the type of thing that you would try to sell. England, Italy, Spain, they would love a game like this. But the actual vileness that's took out the last couple of years makes you wonder if you want to put that out, but with just a minority of them in the stadium, nothing in the stadium should go any kind of stupidness.
I'd let them all in. No, I don't agree with all this 800.
No,
Neither they are.
It's killing the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think. I mean, I was at the first game back against Hibs last week, and the atmosphere was absolutely electric. It was great for a nighttime game. It was absolutely buzzing, nice to be back. And you're only going to get better as there's nothing better than Huns coming on a nighttime game. That's going to be fantastic. But I just like them there to shout at them.
But I've spoken about this before, Welshy. See, for me now, it's a case of who's going to blink first. Right?
It depends on whether we play the occasion or actually play our game. That's always been the case in my eyes. You get dragged into the occasion, you get dragged into the whole event and everything else. Just get out there and play against them.
See this thing with like letting them in or letting us into the Broomlin and things like that. I said the other week on the pod after the winter shutdown get brought forward. They've done it to us, we've done it to them. Right, got a status quo and get it sorted for the next game. When's that, March or something like that? And just get
they can't date with their season books. That's the problem, innit? They've dug a hole for themselves with their season books. They're taking people out of seats again.
Right.
It's like when we buy our season books, you buy them with
that now. Because I know Celtic used to.
When they used to get their full allocation, you would have certain seats that would have without the Huns game, wouldn't they?
Aye.
And it'd be like £100 cheaper. So the boys would buy them tickets and they know fine well they're not getting their seat for their games. And what's happened with them is they've sold them seats as that.
Including them, so they're not going to blink this season then.
It's definitely not going to happen this season. I mean, we've just been off. You've just seen it there last week. There was Celtic were selling more tickets for season ticket holders to buy for that game.
But Celtic's probably held back then, maybe.
They must have held
That's
back
going to be a
because
bit of a breakthrough in it, maybe.
yeah, the season tickets must have been the same situation. I mean, I've just asked for 3 spare tickets and I've been told I've got them. That's unheard of for that game. Do you know what I mean?
But didn't the Rangers, whatever, fella come out there last week or whatever, and basically said that it's not going to change. He said that
He's never going to change it, but if you look at it as well, obviously Europe makes a big difference. They've got to give them 5%. So like Borussia Dortmund have got something like that, 1,000 tickets, 2,000 tickets, whatever it is. So it's not like it can't happen. It's they're just not allowing it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The way he came out, he was basically going, "It's not going to happen anytime soon."
I guess that just in with Welshy saying they've sold the season tickets, so they can't give them to
They
Celtic
can't
fans
give them
now.
back. That's it. It's done. It's done.
I understand that, but the way he's coming out with it, it's basically as if to go like
He's not going to change anytime soon, kind of a thing.
They're not going to allow that 5-1 ever to happen again. And that's what it boils down to.
And that's what he basically said. He basically said, our fans don't want them back. Was basically
that is basically that terms. They just don't.
But that's pandering to the fans and making the right sound bites, but ultimately it's financial.
Oh, 100%. But we've said here on this more than once, Welshy, that and you would know more than most. Been there a lot more. It takes from the game. It's the atmosphere is completely different when there's 7,000 Celtic fans and at Ibrox
Of course, it makes a difference. I mean, I love nothing better than that. A load of them being at our place, and it's all the atmosphere's building up. That's what the games are all about. That's what they're based on.
I was lucky enough. I was at one a couple of years ago, and it was unbelievable. And it just, I have one of the derbies years ago, and it was unbelievable atmosphere. And we were just. It's just it just can't be the same when there's only a pocket of fans in there.
No, it all builds towards the atmosphere. As much as we hate them and everything else, them in our stadium, it makes a big difference to us. Us in their stadium, it makes a big difference. It's and let's not make no bones about it. Football's for fans. Mm-hmm. That is what it's all about.
But even from a viewing point of view, from the television point of view, it has to like if you're a foreigner turning on, you're hearing about it and like. The big derby and turn on and you're like, where's the support?
That's what I'm saying, Terence.
Yeah.
It should be something that Scottish football should be promoting and making money out in. Although it's the biggest derby, and everybody in the world knows what the hate is about. I mean, they don't need to tell you that on the tail or get into stuff like that, but hype it up. To the hype, I mean, you get these dead games down in England and that, and the Super Sunday games, and it's like Bedford again, Watford and Norwich, and you're like, it's a shite we're getting pumped. This is meant to be the best league in the world. This is one of the biggest games in the world.
But how do you it's impossible then to go to a contract, talk with Sky or BT or whoever it is going, this derby is one of the biggest in the world, and they're going, yeah, but there's no Celtic.
Exactly, that's exactly what I'm saying, Terence. They need to get it sorted out. Not even just for the good of Scottish football.
You've got to think as well though. See if we go from like 7,500 fans to 800. There's another 7,000 subscribers for Sky.
Another 3,500 for Welshy TV.
but in all fairness, that's how you look at it. If one in 5 fans buys a ticket, buys a subscription to Sky just so they can watch that game, they're not going to kick up a stink, are they?
It's true too, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm about to like on my phone. I can see his big mug on my phone.
That's it for tonight, lads. Thanks to Terence and Brian Welshy Y for joining us tonight. Thanks to you guys in the live chat for joining us. Lads, you want to say anything before we go? Terence?
Thanks for putting us on as always, lads. Great chat. Nice chatting to you, Welshy.
No, thanks very much. Thanks for having us on. Been good fun.
Mark will close the show.
Great, thanks very much, Paul. Everything, as I say, everything you're doing here and behind the scenes. Thanks very much to Terence and Welshy for my own. It's always good when Welshy comes on into the bed. It sounds quite sober for a Sunday night. I don't know if he's away travelling to work or not. So everybody that helped us out, joined us in the live chat, thanks very much. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember, please hit the like button, subscribe button, and you know how, please leave a comment in the comment section. Hail, hail, God bless.